All right, we are back. This time we are talking PMP and everything, not everything. Only 5 things that I did to pass the exam on the first try. And get that right there. Now, honestly, I've been completely overthinking content creation. So I just left the office, about to go train at my new Muay Thai gym. So I figured I'm just gonna stop, do it right here in the car. I don't have my mic like I had last time. I left it somewhere, but I just tested the audio. We should be fine, but let's get right into it. Number 1 of the 5 things that I did to pass the PMP on the first try. I said in the previous video, I'll say again, not in the same way, but passing the CAPM first. Now, the CAPM, taking that first en route to taking the PMP exam is super beneficial in my opinion. I think you don't have to do it, but to me, it's a great thing to do. Number 1, I said before, you get that introduction to project management. You get that foundational knowledge, that foundational education to project management. I have some notes here if you see me looking down here. But outside of that, because I said that before, it automatically makes you eligible for the PMP exam. Now, you still have to detail, if I'm not mistaken, when I applied, you have to apply to take the exam. When I applied, I still had to detail some of my project management experience, but as far as the education requirement for the PMP, you are automatically eligible if you do the CAPM first. Now, I said that before also, to get into something else that I didn't say, why this is one of the things that helped me pass the PMP on the first try. You get the added motivation of doing 2 certifications rather than just 1. Now, you can do what they call a skip level and go straight to the PMP. All you have to do is qualify with all the things that they say you need to have in order to sit for the exam. But I believe in not rushing things pretty much, and if you can do both, to me, it looks great. Now, one of the main reasons why is because if you're doing this, more than likely you're doing it to either get a job or to get a better job. Now, my thinking when I did this was, I want the flex of 2 certifications. I want people to see me do 1 and then come back and then do another one. So to me, that looks good in the job market. I didn't talk to anybody about that. I'm just I was in the same position. Like I said, you're either looking for a job or you're looking to get a better one. So I'm thinking of, hey, I'm gonna do this, but how to go about it, that's gonna look great. To me, that kind of shows some determination and commitment and whatnot to, what you're looking to learn. So let's see. Yeah. Now, moving forward, project management is project management pretty much. So you got the CAPM certified associate, you got the project management professional. It's the same content pretty much. It's just how the exam goes about testing you on it, in my opinion. So the CAPM exam has 4 domains, 1 being project management fundamentals and core concepts, predictive, agile, and business analysis, as opposed to the PMP has 3, people, process, and business environment. So doing the CAPM first, everything there, like I said, project management is project management. Everything there is going to help you in learning the PMP domain. So, but you're not going to be memorizing anything. You're going to be looking to understand it. So once you get that foundational knowledge from doing the CAPM first, all of that is going to help you in your PMP study journey pretty much. So if you take something like people in PMP, something like that is going to be, stakeholder engagement. Well, stakeholder engagement can be done, it is going to be done a little bit different in the predictive environment as opposed to the agile environment. But only in the CAPM do they separate them. The PMP is just people, process, and business environment. It doesn't say people in this or people in that. So having that foundational knowledge, though, it's not a waste of time, I guess is what the point I'm trying to get to. it's absolutely not a waste of time. I actually recommend doing that one first and not doing the skip level, but you absolutely can. Now, I think going backwards a little bit, I need to look up the number. I'm going to look it up and put it on the screen, but there's a large number of actual project managers who have the position and title of project manager who do not have a PMP. Plenty. Let's say if I just guessed, I would say about 3 out of 5 don't have a PMP. A lot of people just end up in the position, you know, hey, we were at work and certain things needed to be done. They started telling me to do this. All right, now you're the project manager. That's how a lot of people get their position. But if you're gonna go the route of getting the actual credentials, I really think the CAPM first and then the PMP. And one of the bigger reasons, to go back to my previous video, I just wanted to give project management its proper respect. You know, I'm coming in this thing as far as a educational standpoint, new, all the terminology, everything. So let me go all the way to the very first thing that they have, and then it's just a flex to say, hey, I got this one, then I got that one, and then I moved on to whatever. I had that motivation of doing this, then doing that. I wanted it to look good in my job search process, and it did. I think I didn't talk to anybody again specifically about that route, but I definitely have dropped that gem of, hey, I got 2 certifications last year, one in this and one in that. They're like, oh, okay. So I kind of thought about that in the process, and that motivated me a good bit. So that's the first thing I did. CAPM first. Number 2, Andrew Romdayal. Now, for the CAPM exam, I took Joseph Phillips, who I said obviously is a great instructor, great teacher. I took his CAPM course. For the PMP, I wanted to switch it up, and everything PMP, you're gonna hear about 3 people's names, and I think the biggest one you'll hear is Andrew Romdayal. So I'm gonna go with what people are saying is the best route to go with, and I went with him. Now, outside of, you know, his teaching styles and whatnot, I think a lot of videos cover that quite well. What I got, the reasons why I say this was number 2, outside of the course, he also has a YouTube where they do he does live streams where they just pretty much talk all things project management, all things PMP exam. So in your study process, I think it's great to just talk about it. You know, you may just have somebody else doing it also, and you just talk about it, as opposed to always studying. Study all the time. And when you're talking to people, you're talking about studying or whatnot. Or, excuse me, you're specifically studying. Seeing his live streams and people asking questions and him answering them is just talking all things PMP exam, all things project management. Now, he also has other resources that he offers. And he has the course, of course. He has the exam simulator and practice exams. You don't have to get the course, if I'm not mistaken, to buy the exam simulator. And you don't have to get the course to buy practice exams. So if you feel like, hey, I'm good, I just need to, you know, do your practice exams or do somebody's practice exam or somebody's exam simulator, he has that for you too. Now, I don't know how much they are because I just did the course. And in the course, I think there's a couple practice exams in the course. I only did that. I didn't think I needed to do the simulator or the additional service practice exams and whatnot. I just didn't feel the need to do that. So the course was enough for me. And then I was coming off the CAPM at the same time. So again, not a waste of time. So, but point is, he has a bunch of other services. I think he's great. So he is the number one PMP resource, I believe. He has a bunch of stats on how many certifications he actually has and how many students he has that has gone on to take the PMP and pass the PMP exam. And those numbers are kind of astronomical, to be honest with you. So number 2, Andrew Romdayal, like as a person, not just a course, just him. 3 might be my favorite. This one, I think in 2000, I want to say 24, either 24 or early 20, I think in 2024, the PMP exam changed. And with me taking it that same year, I caught myself getting caught up in watching videos about the exam change, about how it used to be and how it's gonna be now. That is an absolute waste of time. The only way it's not a waste of time, the only way it matters is if you know the date that the exam is going to change and you're trying to take it before that date. All right, now I can say, what is it now? What is it going to be? I do not want to fool with that. I want to take it this way. That happened with the Agile Certified Practitioner, the ACP exam. They just changed it, and I had somebody in my study group, that'll come up later, who wanted to take it quickly after we did the PMP because it was changing and they didn't want to take the changed version. So that's the only way this is not a waste of time. Anything outside of that, why? Like, why, if you know you're taking the exam, a certain version of it, then anything about the old version, why do you need to care about that at all? And I'm saying this because I caught myself doing it. There's quite a few videos on YouTube about the exam changing. Personally, maybe it's just content, you know, just something to talk about, something to put content out there, views and whatever. Maybe, I don't know. But it's just a complete waste of time. Now, you already have a good amount of information to take in and understand. Notice I said understand, not memorize. The test is they're gonna make sure that you understand project management, not memorize terms and whatnot. So if you already gotta understand a lot of information, then why take up any amount of mental space with something that doesn't matter, like how the exam used to be? So, number 3, ignore content about the older version of the exam. I'm saying that because it's 2025 now, and you still can get caught up in how was it last year, because that exam change was last year, so that's pretty recent. So just ignore it. It is a complete waste of time. Now, I mentioned study group. Number 4, I joined a study group. This one, maybe my second favorite or whatever I just said about number 3. The study group builds on number 2, Andrew Romdayal. This is also why he's a great resource, because he started a community and pretty much announced it on LinkedIn. I saw it on LinkedIn. It was a school, SKOOL, I think. I think it was a community on that platform. So he launched it on LinkedIn, and we all kind of joined it, a bunch of people. And then we just get to communicating, and people got to talking about studying and whatnot, and possibly getting together and doing study groups. And pretty much that's what happened. We had one guy named Samuel. He said it, I commented on his, a few others did. We got together and got on a call pretty quickly. I'm not sure. I don't think it was that same day, but we scheduled a call pretty quickly. Now, moving forward, this one, it might actually be my favorite, the study group, because the entire experience to me is a project, which is a temporary endeavor to produce a product, result, or a service, if I'm not mistaken, that last one. This whole study group process is the project, with that service or result being everybody taking the PMP exam. So if you look at it that way, while studying with all these people, as you're learning things, you can kind of not necessarily compare it, but use the study group process to kind of wrap your mind around the things that you're learning. We did this throughout the entire time. So initially we came together and we started going about things a certain way. We were kind of taking subjects each and then telling each other about that subject, or that, let's call it that term and stuff, whatnot. We realized this is not great. Like, we can just do this ourselves, and we switch things up. That's managing the project right there. So we just kind of referred back to, oh, that's what we're doing right here, as we were learning certain things. So that whole study group process is a project in and of itself. So on top of the benefit of learning with people and observing them while they learn, bouncing things off of people and saying, hey, I was thinking this, or I always get that mixed up with this. I always get qualitative and quantitative mixed up, and then somebody else saying, hey, it's quantity. Think numbers when you think quantitative, and qualitative is qualify. So you just need to be in that environment where somebody can say, oh, I got you, this is how I remember that, this is how I understand that. And being in a study group, it's actually a great thing. Now, another thing that makes that great, certain things like today in 2025, we work remote and hybrid way more. So being in a study group that you kind of get with people in a platform like Andrew Romdayal's, more than likely you're going to be in there with people from different states and countries probably. And I say that because that was my experience. So some of the topics in project management is about managing people in that exact situation. So again, as you're learning about it, we're right in this right now. So my situation, we had me in North Carolina, we had a guy in Michigan, we had a guy who organized this, he's in Canada, and then we had a woman in British Columbia, Canada. I didn't know that was a place until today. I looked at her LinkedIn. British Columbia, Canada. And then the other woman was in Newtown, Pennsylvania. Now, everything that we did was virtual. So as you're learning about communication methods, communication channels, you're like, oh, we're doing that right now. Especially learning about it in reference to doing project management in 2025, when we're getting more remote, more hybrid, not necessarily always just in office. That was great. Another thing, those people in my study group, I'm a American, North Carolina. We had an American guy in Michigan. Both of us Black American males. The guy that set it up, he's Canadian, Black Canadian man. The two women were, I'm not sure their like ethnicity and whatnot. They were like Indian, but one in Canada and one in Pennsylvania. So the cultural differences, you learn about that in project management. Like we may want to study a certain day, but we can't because maybe one person is going to be out to observe a certain holiday that their culture celebrates. Okay, and then we do whatever around that. That's part of project management. So just being in the environment and in the process of being in a study group, to me, helps because it gives you something to compare pretty much the information that you're learning to something that you're actually doing. Now, more on this, the process of this being a project. With the end goal being everybody passing the PMP, we can't all take it on you probably can. We didn't all take it on the same day. We all took it one at a time, which means one person takes it, they pass it. Now we're releasing incremental value pretty much to the world. That's part of project management also. And it's just dope. You got one person that takes it. The first person that took it was the Michigan man. His name's Marlon. He took it first, passed it, immediately announced on LinkedIn, hey, I have a new certification. This is a new milestone for me, and then shouted out everybody in the study group. That was great. The next person took it. I think that was Samuel. He took it, same thing. Announcement of the new certification, new milestone, shout out everybody in there. And the next one was the British Columbia Canadian one. She took it, same thing. And then I took it, passed it, same thing. So that there is project management. You're releasing incremental value until we get it all done, and then release everybody to go on about your lives doing whatever next project you go to do. Again, the woman in British Columbia, she's the one who wanted to do the Agile Certified Practitioner before it changed. It changed in November of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. And she wanted to do that one. And my plan was to do that one next because I wanted to get more into project management. I wanted to get a higher, I wanted to do, above target in all the domains. And since I didn't get above target in all three, I think I just got at target. and an above target in 1, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, I want to double down, get back into it. And the Agile Certified Practitioner automatically gives you the credit hours that you need to renew your PMP. So I'm like, now that I'm still in the mindset, let's go ahead and get this. And it's right before they change the exam again. That's the only time this matters. Looking at content where it talks about the exam changing. Anything outside of that, waste of time. But anyway, she went on. We released that resource, to go do another project, which was the Agile Certified Practitioner, and she went and did it. So to me, that's another dope part, just being a part of something and then watching everybody one at a time pass it. It kind of hypes you up, saying, okay, I want that next. I want to say, hey, I did it. They've already shouted you out as part of the group, so now just picture people waiting on you to do yours. They're probably not, but you can just believe that, like, oh, they're waiting on me now. I gotta join it. I gotta set my day. Oh, and that reminds me, bouncing things off each other. Like, what was your exam experience? In my group, first person took it, and I remember him like it was yesterday, saying, "Hey, man, trust me, you got it. Like, I study with y'all every week. I promise you, the exam that I just took, you got this." Talking to me or whoever was, I think it was Samuel next. He was talking to exactly. But was saying that to pretty much each person. Man, I promise you, y'all got this. Of course, it's not going to be the exact exam, but the way they give it, I promise you, you got that PMP mindset. Say that later. I promise you, you got this. So you get that from not just sitting and studying by yourself. You get into a study group where everybody's doing the same thing pretty much, you get stuff like that. Now, yeah, that pretty much is it right there. That wraps it up. That's one of the dopest parts to me, just being a part of something, and you get to bounce stuff off each other as you all are learning at the same time. Well, I only got 4. What's going on? Oh, 5. Questions. I said this in the CAPM video, but questions. That again is one of the 5 things that I did to pass it on the first try. Now, one of the things, like I said, we went about things in the study group a certain way, and then we changed it. One of the things we changed it to was taking exams or practice exams together on the call. So we were getting a bunch of questions in every week, in addition to the questions we were doing on our own. So you got the questions that you're doing with the study group. Again, Pocket Prep, the Pocket Prep app, and PMI Study Hall. PMI Study Hall, you can filter the subjects and whatnot. You can filter the difficulty level. Again, you can filter the missed questions in Pocket Prep, and PMI Study Hall is the one that's it's a good bit better. I remember sharing my screen and trying to, have us do questions from Pocket Prep, because you can use it on your laptop and an app on your phone. And it just wasn't, the questions were a little bit different. The scenarios, because, it's a lot of scenario questions on the PMP, or maybe just in PMP study materials, period. The scenarios were a little bit different from PMI Study Hall, so maybe the overarching one for this one would be PMI Study Hall. That one was big because I didn't do Study Hall for the CAPM, but PMI Study Hall for the PMP. PMI Study Hall for the PMP was a big addition to my study materials from the CAPM to the PMP. Now, the bonus one, number 6, the PMI mindset. Getting into that, which is understanding project management as opposed to memorizing it. Getting into the PMI mindset automatically puts you in position to eliminate certain answers when it comes to taking the exam. You read that question, automatically go there and say, well, why would I do this if I know if I know the situation is this, why would I do that? Why would I do this? So automatically 2 of those are gone. that helps you quickly answer questions in the exam, just being in that PMI mindset. So I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you, I'm trying to, in this video, not do what everybody else has done. I'm not going to teach you project management or spend time, like waste your time telling you about the exam process and requirements to sit for it, any of that. Look up PMI, what is it? The PM mindset. Look that up and you'll start understanding how you need to understand the study materials, the topics and whatnot, the terms, how to go about thinking about scenario questions as opposed to just memorizing a scenario pretty much. The PMI mindset, that's the bonus one. So that's number 6. Recapping 1 through 5. Number 1, taking the CAPM first. That was a cheat code. Number 2, Andrew Romdayal as a person. He's just dope. He comes with a lot. And he's a great resource. Number 3, ignoring all content about how the exam changed. You don't need to know that. Unless, and that unless, I really don't need to say that because that time has changed already. Unless they are going to change it again in less than a year or 2 years, which is not going to happen. So really, the old version of the test doesn't matter. 4, that's the study group, right? Yeah, the study group. Join a study group. Preferably one that is virtual, people not around you and whatnot. It's the same thing as sitting next to somebody, and then doing it that way, you're more likely to get into proximity with somebody that is not exactly like you and not exactly like you and where you're from, your culture and whatnot. You're going to need that in understanding the ways of project management in certain respects. 5, questions. Take as many questions as possible. Don't only do questions, but you can't just learn stuff and not test it by answering questions on stuff. So number 5, questions. And the bonus one is the PM mindset. Trying to get into the PM mindset, look up content on the PM mindset. It helps you just eliminate certain things that are a waste of time. Like, why are you considering that answer at all? If you go by the PM mindset, you wouldn't do that. So PM mindset, the bonus one. And that's it. That's what I did. 5 things I did to get the PMP exam passed on the first try. I very much appreciate anybody that's still looking at this and anybody that watched the CAPM video before this. Again, I've been overthinking content creation, but hey, I'm in the car now. We're just gonna knock this thing out and move on to the next certification, which is actually what is motivating me to go ahead and post this, because next I got to talk about my first one of 2025. So man, Joseph Phillips, as he says all the time at the end of all his videos, if somebody else has done it, you can do it too. I promise you. The PMP is not bigger than you. It's just something else to learn. And you're probably managing projects on a daily basis anyway. Driving from home to work, it's a project. You know, certain things you gotta do to go about it. Again, that study group thing is another example of a project. It's just a temporary endeavor to produce a product, service, or result. You're probably doing that every day. These are just the 5 things I did to knock out my exam. I think they are very valuable. You can use them too. And with that,